What's the best piece of advice you ever had?
So it comes from, it's Gary Vee, right? Now, I know a lot of people have mixed opinions about Gary Vee, don't they? But that guy to me is an absolute hero. Okay. And when I was going through a bit of where we'd been given the notice about, potential redundancies, and I didn't really want to be at that old job, I'd actually just discovered Gary Vee at that point. And one of the biggest things that I realized, is the quote that I live by is that you can always get another bullshit job, right? So you can always go and try the stuff, go and just give it a bash. Because what I realized as well is that, my freelancing thing could have gone much worse than it did. I could have still went and got a job and then started it again. The good thing about service-based is that it's low barrier to entry, bar equipment, but you can always start from more or less nothing. So that's always something that I always remember. So now I'm no longer fearful, I guess, of trying the new things, and if they go wrong, they go wrong. But just to actually to enjoy what you're doing, to do what you love. If you can carve a passion in a business, if you can carve a business out of your passion, then you're onto a winner. Because for me, it was video production, just generally speaking, and I have zero issues, and I actually prefer to be working 60 hours a week doing
something you love,
doing what I love, plus the time spent on Affinity, plus the time spent on drums, plus the whatever, and quite zero issues on spending 60, 70, 80 hours a week doing that, because there's literally nothing else that I would rather be doing. Which is why holidays for me and all that sort of stuff I've not really got much interest in, because a holiday to me, my Mondays are no longer work. I say I no longer work, but I'm in the office for 12 hours recording a week's worth of content for Affinity. So that's the
I think it's a really good, it's so true that with what I would caveat it with is that just manage your downside. So for instance, absolutely 100% start up as a video producer, whatever you want, a baker, anything. But just if you can, do it without taking on too much debt. Just so if it does go tits up, it doesn't take you down, that kind of thing. But it's so true that, and the funny thing is most people that have an inclination to maybe one day do their own business or do their own thing, they would actually both make really good employees because they're generally quite creative and stuff. And you are 100% correct. If it all goes tits up and it just doesn't work out, you can easily get another job with a lot of people. And then even if you go for the job interview and they say, what have you done for the last 3 years? You can happily say, go on, son, it's empty.
Defending that one. Oh, save.
And just say, look, I did this, but it didn't work out, but I learned a lot from it. I think that's cool.
100%.
And then the other question I like to ask people is that if you were to give advice to young David Winter, so give advice to yourself at any point in your career, it could be at school when you weren't really feeling A-levels or whatever, or even now, or even last week, or maybe you when you'd set up and that guy didn't pay you and whatever. What advice would you give yourself, your younger self?
Well, first of all, to the time when he didn't pay me, realise that wasn't the be-all and end-all, because I spent so long chasing it that it actually cost me more money than it was ever going to be worth. But the main thing is actually what I've learned pretty much, I would say, in the last year is don't underestimate the power of efficiency and don't underestimate the power of consistency. Because the biggest thing, which comes off the back of having done the streams, was obviously already had all of the equipment that I needed to do the streaming because I was doing it for clients. But I was using that same equipment. This is a very specific example, but I was using that same equipment. So exactly what we talked about when we were setting all this up, the time that it took, is that if you're going to do that every single time, the 3 hours that you're going to do a stream, is it worth the 1 hour of setting up time before every stream? Probably not. Can you reduce that? Can you now, as I do, be able to switch everything on in literally less than 2 minutes? Jesus, even that was a cross. That wasn't even a shot, but that would have been a good way to wrap things up, wouldn't it? That would have been a highlight. But yeah, the power of efficiency now is all that. So I'm not bothered if something costs a little bit more. I've worked long enough, and got the money to be able to invest that sort of thing. If it was another camera, as it has been for the streaming stuff and all that kind of thing. And then the power of consistency. This has been one of the very few things, Affinity, where I've said, right, I'm going to do something every Monday and every Friday and every Wednesday and every other Saturday and and I've actually stuck to it. Because Winter Media, I set out when I started, I was like, right, I'm going to be doing 3 podcast episodes a week, and whatever I'd wrote down, and I was going to be like, it was going to be obviously like 3 videos a day, 5 videos a week onto YouTube, 10 posts every hour onto LinkedIn, you know, all these like ridiculous things that you think you're going to be able to stick to. And then in truth, I just didn't quite enjoy that type of content.
Yeah, it's too much.
And not necessarily even that it was too much. I mean, those examples were too much, but not even necessarily that what I'd set out was too much. It's just that it's very easy to break a habit when you're kind of bound to it. Not when it's not by choice anymore. When it's, oh yeah, I suppose I did say I was going to. I'll get another video out. I'll get another video out. Affinity, you couldn't rip me away from the PlayStation on a Monday when that's the day now that I've got booked out. It's on my email signature for Winter Media and everything. I don't work Mondays purely because that's the day that the new content comes out on Gran Turismo, basically. And that is the day that I've got set, and like the efficiency and the consistency that I've had doing something that I've enjoyed has been like insane.
I think I would actually agree with that. So I started streaming interviews and stuff in my bedroom. And actually having this studio and just having the setup where actually, so I stream every Friday regardless. It's that consistency makes such a big difference when it goes on YouTube and all the different places. Just on awareness on what you're doing.
You are literally the prime example. I know there's the odd Monday you will message and say the interview has dropped out or whatever, but literally that Monday is like booked in. The same with the lessons and the sessions and all that sort of stuff. But it is, and I think as well from a branding side of things, obviously you've got yours pretty much nailed. Mine is just, I always try and do every Monday. But seeing that from other streamers as well, to stick with that kind of niche, I know all the other YouTubers and that are in the same space, and the days that they stream, because they are so consistent with it, stick with it so much, even the days that they upload videos, because it is literally that. They've got their calendar set out, they know what they're doing, and the consistency that they've had, you know, the guy that I mentioned that I was racing with, the one, Basic Ollie he's called, the one that got me into doing the streams, he is literally religiously for 2 years. His channel's up to 25, 30,000 subscribers from nothing, and it's just literally been that consistency. But yeah, anyways, there we go. That was a long ramble, wasn't it?
Yeah. You get to edit it down.
I get to edit it down, yeah.